Hey guys, Trent here, coming at you with another video. So today is going to be a specific video all about how I like to buy, process, and resell cordless handsets on eBay. If you're new to my channel, welcome in. My name is Trent. I'm a part-time reseller on eBay. I do it for fun and profit, and I take you along for the journey. So I appreciate you hitting that subscribe button for more great videos in the future. So one of my items that I like to sell is cordless phones. You'll see them in a bag in the thrift store, or maybe at a yard sale, somebody's selling their old phone. They're easy to look up with model number. If they're in good condition, they don't take much work to test them, process them, and get them listed. And strangely enough, because of the demand of people wanting to get a replacement handset for their phone set, you can sell them for a pretty decent profit. So you can buy a bag like this, maybe for $3, $5, even $7, something like that, depending on how much is in it. And then you can take this, all the handsets out of here, process them, and turn around and make 3 to 5 really solid sales, $20 to $25 sales, out of sometimes as low as a $2 or $3 investment, depending on how cheap you get the phone set for. So this is a pretty good phone set I got right here. It's a Panasonic phone set. It's pretty clean, and it's got a lot of different handsets, charge cradles, and the answering machine base, and I'm going to show you how I process all of that. So let's get into it. Now, the particular bag I'm working with today turned out to be your above average bag, because it looks like almost the equivalent of 2 complete phone sets in it, because it actually had one answering machine unit and one identical answering machine unit that looks like it's never been used, and then the little kickstand for that. So I've got 2 actual answering machine units. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 charging cradles, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 handsets. So that's why I actually paid up for this particular bag. I paid like about $15 for this, but these are like brand new. It's a nice Panasonic model. Your average bag is probably only going to have maybe an answering machine unit with its phone, and then maybe 2 more charging cradles with 2 more phone sets. That's kind of like your average bag. So first thing is battery assessment. Basically, we're going to test these phones and make sure that they work. So each handset had batteries except for one. So they already have their batteries. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to try to charge these up and see if the batteries actually still hold a charge. And that'll be hopefully the initial way that we test the phones. And most of the time, there'll be at least 1 or 2 battery sets that'll work, which will allow you to at least test all the handsets with that battery. You may not necessarily decide to sell it with the batteries. You may sell them without batteries, and that works. But you need those batteries to at least test the phones, because most of them don't come with these individual style batteries. These are specific batteries for this phone model, but most of them come with these little battery packs that you have to either get replacements or sell them without the batteries, unless they work, of course. So then another thing I do when I list it in regards to batteries, so let's say I've got these 6 handsets, all but 1 have batteries. So let's say I go ahead and test these and all the batteries seem to be working pretty good. What I will do is I'll list the phone set, whatever I sell this phone with, I will put in the description that it has working batteries. However, I can't guarantee how long the batteries will last. I disclose that information in my listing. So, and then one handset I'm going to have to sell with no batteries, but I will test it with using the other batteries. So that's what I'm going to do right now. First, I'm going to charge everything up and see what works and what doesn't. All right, miraculously, I was able to get all of them plugged in. I had enough plugs, so you can see they're all charging. So I've got, it's looking, if everything goes like I want it to, I'm going to sell these individually. 1, 2, 3, 4 individual sales of just a nice handset with a charging cradle. And then I've got 1 never used answering machine unit with its power supply I'll sell. I've got 1 unit that will just be a replacement handset with no batteries. And then actually I have 1 handset that's going to have batteries that will be a replacement unit, just a replacement handset by itself. And then one individual answering machine by itself, because personally I find that this is the item that gets bought the least. People are more interested in just a handset, so I just sell it separately, so that I can sell it for cheap, and they eventually sell, but not for very much money, kind of like a recoup of your cost. So that is if the batteries work well, and it looks like they're going to. So that's how I'm thinking I'm going to do this lot. Is going to end up being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different individual sales. So we'll see how that goes. So I'll let these charge up and then we'll go into the next step. All right, next we got our phones charged up. They all seem to be holding good battery for the ones that have batteries in them. So the next step is to figure out how your phone works as far as registration and deregistration goes, mainly deregistration. Your customer can worry about the registering of the phones later. But so here's one that has not been deregistered. So it's named Handset number 1. Then here's one I deregistered. It says press locator on. So this one gives instructions on how to register it for your customers. So that's good. Press locator on base 5 seconds, put on charger. So I've made a couple videos on different phone models on how to deregister them. So, you know, you can find them basically on YouTube. You type in the model number and you can get basically a general idea on how to do it. So I'm going to show you how to do this one. I'm also going to make a tip video on that one as well, but it'll be in this instructional video as well for this particular model. Here's the model number. This particular model is a Panasonic model number KX-TGDA52. Older Panasonic phones I've showed, they're pretty simple to deregister. You just have to go to certain parts in the menu. But these a little bit newer Panasonics do involve a code as well. So this is the end result we're trying to get, where it says press locator on base for 5 seconds and put on charger. That is an indicator that it has been deregistered. It's ready to be registered, ready to be paired with a phone set. So here is one that has not been deregistered. You see it's phone set number 1 when it was prior registered. It says check tail line because it's currently paired up and everything. So what we're going to do for this particular model is go to the menu. Then once we're in the menu like this, we hit the pound sign. Then it puts us into a place where we enter a code number. So the code is 131. So 131. Give it a few seconds and it goes to here, handset. So we can, right now there's only 2 handsets paired because I depaired handset number 2 already. So we can deregister. This was handset number 1, right? So I'm already highlighted on it. Erase, yes. So now that one's deregistered. See, now it gives that message. So now that I got my phones figured out on how to deregister them, get them ready for a customer, I can then wipe them down really quick is the way I clean them, with isopropyl alcohol. And so then I'll list it as them as being cleaned. And then we'll break them up and figure out exactly what kind of sales I want to make as far as breaking them up into different little lots. All right, so now I've wiped everything down with isopropyl. Everything's looking pretty clean. With units that are a little bit more used than these, you're going to have to scrub some heavy makeup and stuff like that off. Whenever you're getting a unit, whenever you're buying a bag from the thrift store, make sure you inspect it as good as you can in the bag. If you see one that so heavily has so much makeup on it that this screen is starting to get deteriorated, then you might want to second guess that bag. It's not worth it if the phone doesn't look in somewhat decent cosmetic shape, I would say. So now how do we decide how to sell this? You know, you could sell it all in one shot, one phone set, but I think you get more money by breaking them up into individual lots. First thing, what I do, I don't sell the answering machines with a phone. I just sell these answering machine units by themselves. So I got one that was never used. That'll be an individual sale. Then this answering machine I'll sell by itself with its power supply and any cords that come with it, okay? Because generally speaking, people are interested in that the less is what I've come to experience. So, that means we'll have 2 handsets that will be selling without a charging station. So I have the one that didn't have batteries. I'll be selling. I tested it, by the way, and it works. So this one will be selling as a spare handset with no batteries. Then one with batteries will be selling as a spare handset. So for a smaller price, but it's also a smaller item, right? So that takes care of those 2. Next, I got 4 handsets left, and then I also have 1, 2, 3, 4 charging cradles. So this is called a charging cradle, and then this is a main base station with the answering machine. Obviously, it does charge the phone as well, but so what the best thing to sell, in my opinion, is one handset with its appropriate charging cradle and power supply. You can make, depending on the unit, you can make a $15, $20, $25, sometimes $30 sale, depending on what kind of unit it is. Strangely enough, people will pay pretty close to the price that you could buy a whole brand new phone set of the same type. People will almost pay, like, I don't know, a strong percentage of that cost just for one of these replacement handset sets with the charging cradle. So that means in this particular lot, I'm going to make 4 of these. I'm going to have a multi-quantity. I'm going to photograph this one time, and then I'm going to have a multi-quantity of that, a set of 4, 4 total. And so we'll be able to make the same sale 4 times. So that's the processing portion. Now I'll show you some of my description and listing, and just kind of show you what I do with that. All right, guys, so I've got them all listed up, and I'll show you how I decided to list them. This is just the way that I do it. This is the way I break up a phone lot, and this goes exactly with what I showed you that I was going to do in the video. I ended up making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 listings out of it, because one of them, of course, was going to be 4 of the same item. So first we have just the replacement unit by itself that had the batteries. So I have that disclosed in the title. So one thing I'll mention too, another helpful thing is, you search the model number and you'll find a bunch of different kind of listings. So most of my titles, I found somebody selling this exactly, and so I just put a similar price and maybe adjusted the title a little bit, maybe not, it just depends. I actually found somebody in this case that was selling the exact same thing, a replacement unit with batteries. So for this particular model, I was going to try to get $11.99 plus $3.67 to ship. So, $15-16 sale. It'll be a first class ship, of course. And so let's take a look at my description. So what I do is I take a Word document and I make templates, right? I type this one time and I paste it. So I'll copy it from my Word template, I'll paste it here, and then I'll also paste it in the, whenever you fill out a listing, the description portion, which will be here. So these are identical. And so here's an idea on the description: testing, working condition, some cosmetic signs of use and wear. So I always put that no matter what. I mean, that should cover any kind of little cosmetic ding or whatever. Tested working condition, because I did test it. Unit was clean. I wiped it down with alcohol, so that's correct. Includes a battery pack that is currently keeping a charge, but they were the batteries found with the unit, so they are not new and their life is unknown and not guaranteed. So what I'm saying there is exactly that. I got the batteries that happened to come with the phone. I have no idea how long they've been used. So if they die tomorrow or die the day after they get them, I'm trying to basically say that's not my fault. Now, some people, if you refurbish phones, some people like to do a lot of these phones, like to sell a lot. They'll actually buy, bulk quantities of replacement battery packs and stuff like that. Since I don't do that, this is the way I do it. And then finally, unit will come deregistered and ready to pair with your system. So all that deregistration process is important, because you will get customers that, they can't, if you send them a phone that's was prior registered to another unit, they'll return it because they won't be able to figure out how to deregister it properly. And you do not want to go through the struggle of having to try to send them to a YouTube video or try to explain to them how to deregister this phone. You're just going to end up getting a return. So we're trying to minimize that as much as possible. So you want to make sure and deregister that phone. And then since I did that, I disclosed that as an added benefit. So I choose to sell my phones as used and not refurbished, although a lot of sellers sell theirs as refurbished. And I would be surprised if other than maybe putting a brand new battery pack with it, I figure they probably can't be doing much more than what I'm doing right here. So you could probably get away with claiming refurbished, but you probably don't need to. I just put used and then put all this information. So anyways, I had one unit that was just a replacement unit with the batteries, so there's that one. So then I had my unit with no batteries, so I put that in the title: cordless handset with no batteries. So it's just a clean handset that was tested. Description's pretty similar. This one didn't have the batteries, so I didn't have to put all that verbiage for the batteries. So next we got the meat and potatoes of the processing, is the replacement handset with the charging cradle. And I like to show a nice picture that shows that it's powered up that the batteries have power and everything. And so that was a similar description from the other one that had batteries. So I'm trying to get $21.99 plus $3.67 to ship for those, and I think that's a pretty competitive price. So you can see here, just in that's about $100 worth of gross sales just in these 4 sales if I end up successfully selling these. Keep in mind I paid $15 for this bag, so if everything goes well, you can see the profit potential there. Then next we got my answering machine that wasn't new, so I'm selling it with the cords that came with it. This one's a little bit different. My description, I just say it was tenanted working condition with that cosmetic signs of use and wear, and then that the unit was clean, and then also that it includes the power cable and the phone jack. So got that one. You can see I'm trying not to sell it. I'm not trying to sell it for as much money as something like the handset, because this is like the least popular item that people usually need. Then finally I had my brand new answering machine unit that I'm trying to get a few more bucks for. So for this one I decided to use the throw in that unused wall mount, so I'm trying to get a few more bucks for it. And similar description, except for actually no, this was a never used one, so I put that never used and what it included. Out of that one bag made a multi-quantity listing and 4 other decent listings that should hopefully turn into some nice profits. And that is how I process my phones. Alright guys, well that's how I handle cordless phone sets. I break them up into lots. That's how I do it. It seems to make pretty decent sales. You can make your money back and get yourself into the profit probably with 1 or 2 of those sales, and then the rest is just pure profit. And returns, if you do the steps that I showed you of making sure things are registered, deregistered properly and everything, make sure everything's nice and clean, and little basic function check. Disclose all the information, like whether the batteries are new or not, or if it doesn't have batteries. You should be able to make some pretty good sales with minimal returns. So I hope this helps you out. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good one.